Hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of CEO Conversations, the private practice podcast. It is Brandy Mabra here, and this is a good one, and this is probably where some of my passion is going to come across because today we're talking about why you need to diversify your circle and why it's more important for you to do that immediately starting today, not to do the clickbait thing, but because it's really important, especially as we're going into a new type of economy when it comes to healthcare. Welcome to CEO Conversations, the private practice podcast. I'm your host, Brandy Mabra. It's time to show up as a confident leader to create a practice and life you love. This is actually going to be connected to an episode that I did last week where I started talking about the shift in healthcare, the shift in the economy, and what we're getting ready to walk into because of the One Big Beautiful Bill and also AI. So this is going to tag along with that episode. And so for today's conversation, it's all about breaking the bubble and why healthcare entrepreneurs definitely need to diversify their circle. This is extremely important, especially for private practice owners, because here's what I see. We're kind of cliquish, I'm just going to keep it straight. We're kind of cliquish, and we love somebody who is like, oh, you have the same credential I do, and you are a physician, and I'm a physician. You are a therapist, and I am a therapist. You are this profession, and I am this profession. You are admin, and I am admin. You are a clinician, and I'm a clinician. And I get it. I really do. I get it. I've been in, if you don't know who I am, and this might be your first episode of watching or listening, I have almost 2 decades worth of healthcare experience. And so every environment that I've worked in, which there's been a lot, there's always been this dynamic, right? And so these cliques form, and I hate it so much. And because going back to my experience, I have worked in diverse climates, business climates, but also diverse specialties. So I have, of the private practice coaches that are out there, I can probably 99% of confidence say I have probably worked in more specialties than any of them because I am not a clinician. I have a clinical background, so I do get that question a lot. Are you a clinician? Are you a clinician? I have a clinical background in pulmonology, cardiology, and just have been in healthcare forever. I have an uncle who is a dentist. I have a mother who's a registered nurse. I have a grandmother. She's a registered nurse. I have a cousin she has a master's in nursing. I have who else? My sister is in healthcare and human resources. Then you have me, who is like bringing all the business gems. I have another cousin who's a registered nurse. I have a cousin who's an occupational therapist. I have so much healthcare in my family. It's a running joke. Another aunt who is a licensed practical nurse. So she's an LPN. So when you put all that together, I've been around healthcare for a long time. So there is literally a picture of me at 5 years old sitting in ICU with my mom, and I'm in front of an EKG monitor. So if you are wondering about my roots of healthcare, there's some information. But anyways, back to the topic of hand. We're cliquish. And when we put ourselves in these silos, and I'll be honest, when I'm on social media or Instagram, it drives me crazy. I appreciate what I want to say first is I appreciate my colleagues 110%. However, what I have heard, especially once clients start to come into private practice CEO, is that it's an echo chamber. People aren't exposed to other possibilities of what can happen inside of a practice because you are just in one type of arena or like one type of specialty, one type of credential, and we can learn so much from each other. So I talked about this last week, and some of this comes from a number of specialties that I've worked in. So let me go through that list. Cardiology, primary care, OBGYN, urgent care, ophthalmology, asthma and allergy, behavioral health. At this point in time, physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, chiropractic, lactation consultancy, doulas. The list goes on and on and on and on. But you get my point. Did I say cardiology? I don't know if I said cardiology. Actually, and cardiology was what I was in the longest. So in cardiology. So I say all that. I also have worked on the payer side, on a global healthcare, payer. And I've been on the provider side. I've been in large corporate. I've been in small business. I've been in private practice. I've been in large practices. I've been in mid-sized practices. I've been in small practices. I've been in single location practices. I've been in multiple site practices. So to get to the point, there's a lot that I've been exposed to. So when I work with somebody, I'm pulling in all of that expertise, right? And then on top of it, I just love business. So I'm always dissecting different business models. I'm always looking at what are best practices when it comes to industry. Right now, I'm actually really focusing on tech because of all the AI shifts and all the changes and things that are coming our way. So I'm trying to get more comfortable in that space. But it allows for me to move more diversely. The point of this conversation is you need to do the same. So instead of only learning from one type of specialty or putting yourself and surrounding yourself with one type of specialty, surround yourself with different types of specialties, surround yourself with different type of industries, surround yourself with different ways of thinking, right? Because when you open up your mind, you can see what's possible. So I just hosted a masterclass. So we officially have a new masterclass called the Private Practice CEO Masterclass. And one of the attendees, no fault of her own, I start talking about some of the different types of providers that our clients are hiring, and her eyes just lit up. And she was like, wow, that's possible? Yes, it is possible. It is possible. You do not have to just put yourself in one type of box. And even with the way that healthcare is shifting, it's going to be important for you to get rid of the box and for you to think outside the box, for you to come up with something new, something innovative, which we're going to also dive into over the next couple of weeks. But if you are only surrounding yourself by people who just think the same, you're going to limit your growth. And so even with this particular person, even from the staffing model and how she could move, the vision is so important at this point in time. And so when you are able to expand your vision because you've put yourself in different spaces and places and around different types of people, different types of thinking, that's where you're going to be able to make so much more money. That's where you're going to be able to make such a bigger impact. And that's where you're going to survive climates like this. So not saying that you have to join Private Practice CEO, but I am going to tell you that you do need to make sure that you're setting yourself up and really just looking at what your circles are and who you're putting yourself around. And are you limiting yourself because you're only putting yourself in a clique? So if you are sitting there and you're wondering, well, how do I do that? Or maybe you're like me. I'm not really the biggest networker. I get shy. I get a little like, oh no. And I forget my name. I forget what I do. My lip starts to sweat. My armpits start to sweat. But at the end of the day, my business requires me to do certain things. So it's the same thing with you too. So here's a great idea. I dare you, and here's a challenge for you to go and find a company that is completely outside of healthcare, has nothing to do with healthcare, and for you to dissect that business model. What are they doing? Why are they successful? What are they doing from a marketing campaign? So do they send emails? What kind of clientele do they serve? How do they serve them? What are the ways that they engage their clientele? When you walk, if it's an actual brick and mortar, walk into there and start to pay attention to what are they doing? How are they treating customers? How are they engaging customers? What are they doing well? What could they improve on? And when you start to do that, you're going to start to notice things like, oh, I could actually bring that back to my practice. Or you're going to start to notice as well potential partnerships and collaborations and getting deeper into who can come into your practice, right? And so it's important for you to have an open mind, but that's one way. You can listen to other industry type of podcast. You could read a book that has nothing to do with the healthcare business or private practice or, your specialty. So that way you can absorb other types of information and you can make decisions on what you can maybe do different. And another opportunity is you'll be able to diversify how you're able to make an impact and also be able to stand out when it comes to the marketplace, right? So if you're doing something unique, something different that no other practice owner is doing, then you'll be remembered compared to if you're just doing the same old, because this is what I learned from my colleague over here, then what makes you different? What makes you unique? what is like your growth edge when it comes to your practice, right? And so everybody needs to understand what their growth edge is and what makes them unique in the market and what makes them unique with how they actually help people. Because if you are just, I'm a therapist, or I'm a cardiologist, or I'm a dentist, or I'm a dietitian, or I am this, and my practice does this, and we provide these services, what makes you different? How are you able to get a transformation? How are you able to make sure that that patient gets the result, maybe not the same way that this practice down the street does, right? So, and before you go, I am so excited because I wanted to share with you some changes that we have coming up. So, officially starting in August, so this month, we are now doing monthly private practice CEO masterclasses and quarterly boot camps. So the private practice CEO masterclasses are where you can come get 60 minutes of really great, innovative workshop type style, conversation style, leadership and business training, where I'm going to help you make more money, get out of the weeds of your practice, get more time back, make sure you have the freedom that you want, all within 60 minutes. One of the things that makes that different is I am not using slides purposefully. I am not pitching you purposefully, and it's free. So it's all by design to make sure that you're set up for success, especially as we're going into this next season. And then our quarterly boot camps are now 5 days. So it was formerly the Private Practice CEO Lunch and Learn. Felt a little wordy. I'm not even going to lie. So we are now doing Private Practice CEO Boot Camp, which is a 5-day series where we'll do the exact same thing, just longer, where you'll make sure that you're set up for success when getting out of the weeds of your practice, showing up as an empowered leader, making sure that you're setting yourself up financially for success, and that you can have the engaged team that you need in order to get to the next level of business growth that you want to get to, and definitely in order to have more freedom inside of your practice. So if either one of these experiences sound great to you, then go ahead and see the show notes and sign up today. Again, the whole point of this conversation is not to shame anybody or to make anybody feel bad, because if you look around the table, there is a time and place, I want to say, where you look around the table and you can say like, oh, I get you. I see you. I feel you. I know what it's like to be in your specialty. There is always a time and place for that. What I don't want to happen is where you take it to like the 10th degree and there's no diversity in your circle. So just the way that we need to put ourselves around people who have different experiences, different thought processes, is the exact same idea when it comes to healthcare, and it's the exact same idea when it comes to your credential in your specialty. I hope that this lands. I hope that this is helpful. I hope that you get to a place where you can understand business and leadership in a deeper way. That's always my goal. And for you to recognize like, oh, I probably need to change it up. I probably maybe need to put myself in some different circles in order for you to expand your network. And I trust, and I promise you, if you trust me with this, you will make more money, you will have a bigger impact, you will be happier and healthier because you're putting yourself around other types of people, and that always leads to more freedom inside of your practice. So I will see you guys next time. Bye. Thanks for listening today. I hope you enjoyed the episode and it empowers you as the CEO of your practice. If you enjoyed the podcast, please make sure you subscribe, share the message, and leave a review. If you want more information and support in growing and scaling your practice, click the link in the show notes to take advantage of our free resources or apply to work with me directly. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.